Hi, in this video I'll be showing you this. It's the Lefant F1 Robotic Cordless Vacuum Cleaner. And what I want to do today is to show you around the vacuum, some of the features and benefits that it offers. But apart from showing you, I want to give you a full demonstration, setting it up. There's also an app associated with it. But just before I start, what I'd normally do is say please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just give us a quick thumbs up. What I do is I talk about mainly cordless vacuum cleaners. I do talk about household appliances, there's normally a bit of tech in there as well. But just give us a quick subscribe, then we'll make a start. So when you first unbox the vacuum, this is everything that's included. So the vacuum itself, I must say, I do really like the design on this. I have had one of the other Lefant robotic vacuums, the M210. I will go through the differences with it a bit later on, because there's quite a lot to talk about. That this is the better model, this is the top of the range model. But as I say, I really like the design of this. It's a matte finish, but it's got it's almost like a little mottled effect, like a space effect, so that's something a little bit different. On the vacuum itself, you have got this sticker on the front. It's not designed to be left on really, I will take it off in a moment. But what it's showing you is that there are different buttons. So you've got the two buttons here, that's the on and off button. But by pressing the button several times, then you have got the option to start it. So yeah, if you press that on and off for 3 seconds, then that turns it on. If you just click it, then that pauses it. To double click, that's where you can recharge. And then on the right hand side, so you've got the right hand button, you've got the timing or refresh time, turn off the timing, and then if you press that for 3 seconds, then you enter the network distribution state. So there's a lot you can actually do just from the two buttons there. You've actually got some it produces a combination of lights and sounds indicators. So depending on what state it's in, if there was a fault, for example, if it got blocked, then it gives you an idea just on the front here. And just on the front here, you have got a QR code. Now what this does, this is actually enables you to download the app. So it's the Lefant app. So there are a couple of options. You can either scan the QR code on the front of the vacuum, or if you have a look in the instructions, again you have got a QR code in here. So just scan that. As it says, it doesn't matter whether you go via the App Store or Google Play, or you can just scan the QR code. So that's really easy to set up. As I say, I have already done it for this vacuum, and it only takes a couple of minutes. You just connect it through your Wi-Fi. This is the app itself. What I will do, I'll cover this a bit more in a moment, but that's really something I'd recommend doing. Get the app set up, first of all. Some of the other accessories that it comes with, I suppose you do get the brushes. With this, these are designed to clip underneath, so you only need two on here. They just clip on, so dead easy. As you can see here, you do get two spare brushes. Now that's something, I know it's a minor point, but a lot of the time, over time using the vacuum, the brushes do start to wear down. And I'm really glad that manufacturers like Lefant have thought about this, and they've decided to pop a couple of spares in there. You will also notice that just under here you've got the rubber wheels. And what you'll find by having rubber wheels, it does make it a lot quieter when it's moving around. There's nothing worse than having a robotic vacuum, I suppose, or any vacuum cleaner, where you've got the hard plastic wheels, because what you can find is that if you're on things like wooden floor, I'll give you a demonstration in a moment of this, but I've got a wooden floor, and I've tried another one which has got plastic wheels, and to be honest, it's really noisy. And as I say, there's nothing worse than having a noisy vacuum, especially if you're going to schedule it either during the night or when you're out, but that's another conversation. As far as the dimensions on the vacuum, you're looking around 28 centimeters wide, and the main thing to notice, and it's something that Lefant are quite proud about, is that the depth is only 69 millimeters. Now for some people you're thinking, well, why does it really matter? But what you'll find is the thinner it is, the more chance you've got of it going under things like sofas or a bed. Again, I'll do a comparison with the M210 a bit later, but that one is quite a bit taller. Now when we're talking about cordless vacuums, not just robotic ones, two of the main things that we get into conversation are runtime and bin capacity. Now the first one, the bin capacity on this is 600 millilitres. Now, if you're comparing them to other robotic vacuums, then you will find that this is actually a really good size bin. Now, the reason I mention that is because there's nothing more annoying than the vacuum coming out, going to do the vacuum, and then finding that the bin is full pretty quickly. That can be very frustrating, especially with this kind of vacuum, because I suppose with a normal cordless vacuum, you're there doing the vacuuming, so you can see when it's full and when the bin needs emptying. With a robotic vacuum, what you'll find is that the bin capacity is actually very important. Because you're not there with it all the time, then I suppose you don't technically know when the bin is full. So by having a large capacity bin at 600 millilitres like this, then that is a really, really good feature. When it comes to emptying the bin, all you do is you just press the button on the front there, and then that opens up. As with any of the vacuums, I suppose I'd recommend doing it outside. What you can find is as you get things like a lot of dust and dirt in here, then you don't want the dust coming back up at you. Especially if there's somebody in the household that suffers with things like allergies, then that'd be quite an important thing. Talking about allergies, you have got the filters in here. And to take the filter out, this is really easy. All you need to do is just take out the frame that holds the filter in place. And then once you've taken that out, you just got access to the filter. You do get a little brush, so you do get that with it as well. So that just helps you to get into the elements of the filter. What you can find over time that you might need to replace the filter. And I'm really pleased to see that Lefant have given us a spare filter, which is always a really, really good idea. You have got like an inner shroud of the filter as well. So that you can take that out if you want to clean it. And then when you put it back in, just locate the filter in there, and then locate the frame, push that all back into place. And as far as the bin, I've not really mentioned this yet, but when it comes to putting the bin back in, it just drops back in and that's it. There's no buttons, there's no clips or anything to hold it in place. Then you're ready to go. As far as the brush, just going back to the cheeky little brush, you have got a little blade in here. So what you will find over time, that with the brushes, that if you get hair wrapped around it, then that just helps to get any residue or debris removed from around the brush. So that comes with it as well. And the other thing I mentioned about earlier was the runtime of the vacuum being really, really important. So this particular one, you're looking around 200 minutes of vacuuming before the vacuum will need to be recharged. That's in the cordless market for vacuum cleaners, that is extraordinarily high. Clearly at some point, because it is cordless, then it will need to be recharged. What you'll find is it does come with this dock, so this is included with it. What you'll find, you have got the two metal tabs underneath. What happens is that at some point the vacuum will go and it will relocate back on so it matches up just at the front here. I'll give you a demonstration of this in a couple of minutes. But what you need to do is you need to make sure that the mains charger, so that comes with it, that just plugs in the side, that wherever you're going to locate it is near to a main socket. Although it's got an alternative plug on it at the moment because we're in the UK, it was included. It's got the 3-pin plug attached to it as well. So that's all in the box. We have also got some mops as well and some disposable dusters. I think what I'll do is I'll put those to one side because I'll cover that in a bit more detail in a bit. But first of all, I'm going to show you the app and how that works. As I mentioned earlier, there are different ways that you can control the vacuum. I suppose if you're going to use it via just the vacuum itself, then I'll just give you a quick demonstration of this. So all you'll do is you just press and hold the left-hand button for 3 seconds, and you've got 2 indicators that come on. It's beeped at me, then it's waiting for an instruction, and according to the sticker on the top here, all you do is you just click that, and then it will start. So that's an easy solution. What you'll find is that the vacuum will go round, and then it will start to vacuum the room that you're in. Now the other option is if I just pause that. So the other option, and I suppose a little bit more fun, is using the app to control the vacuum. Now as I say, I've already set this up, but this is something I would definitely recommend doing as soon as you get. So as I mentioned earlier, I have already set the app up. It is quite an easy process to do, but I would recommend as soon as you get the vacuum, then just get this connected up to the vacuum. But what you'll find is that there is so much information that you get. from the app to do with the vacuum. Now hopefully I see there's a little bit of reflection. I hope it's not going to interfere with this, and hopefully you can see everything. But just across here, first of all, you can see the battery percentage. So I have charged it. I have given it a quick try earlier, so this at 83% at the moment. But if I wanted to start it, then there are, as mentioned, you can either press the button on the front, or I suppose a little bit more fun is if you press the automatic cleaning, then the vacuum will go off and start the vacuuming. Now that's something that if you press the button again, put it into standby, and then it will stop. You can turn it off if you want to, just using the left hand button there. What it also does is there are different options. You've got the recharge option, so if you want it to go back to the base, then just press that button. I will give you a demonstration of that in a moment, because I've got something else really good to show you. You have got different ways that it can vacuum. So you have got something called random, and what that will do, that will just go off in all random directions. I'm not too sure what the random one is for, and I suppose personally I wouldn't tend to use it that much. The next one is called the edge cleaning. So if I press that, what this will do, just move this out of the way. So what it's going to do is it's found an edge and it's going to vacuum around the edge of the room. Now, as you can see, I'm actually in the kitchen here, and I think this is an absolutely fantastic feature, because under the kitchen cabinets, it can get a bit dusty, and what the vacuum is doing is it's finding the edge and it's just going to vacuum around the edge. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the height of it is very important, because when I did a demonstration of the M210, it didn't get as close to the edge as this one is. Now the next option on here is called the fixed point cleaning, and what I've done is I've just put a bit of cereal on the floor just to show you this, because what you can find is if there was a certain, say, spillage that you've had, you don't necessarily want it to clean the whole room, you just want it to clean a certain area. So I'll just press the fixed point cleaning, and for a lot of vacuums it can struggle because it's on the wooden floor and it just sends the cereal all over the place. But I must say, I'm actually really impressed, because not many of the vacuums have been able to get the cereal within there. I've done a lot of demonstrations of vacuums over the years, and as you can see, this is just going around in a circle and it's just collecting all of the cereal in its path. And then one of the final operating modes on here is called manual. Now when you press the manual, it comes up with a little display here. Now this is something that could be quite fun, especially if you're into your gadgets. I must say, when I was younger, I was always into my remote control cars, so when I first saw this is a little bit of fun. I'm not so sure it's something that people will tend to use a lot, rather than as a little gadget, but nevertheless it's still a bit of fun. So what this is doing is that's moving to my command. So I can see that you could have quite a lot of fun with that. And on the far right hand side, you've got the settings option, and what this will do is you've just got some different options here. First of all is the suction. Now at the moment it is set to high, and I suppose for a lot of people that's what you'll want to keep it on. What you can do is you can change it to another setting, say low. What that will do is that could increase the actual runtime of the vacuum, but clearly the performance of it won't be as good. You've got different sensitivity levels as well. This one is a really good idea. This is the look for machines. This is a really useful option, because what this enables you to do is to find the vacuum cleaner. Now I know it sounds a bit odd that your vacuum might have gone walkabout, but what you can find is if a vacuum has been vacuuming for over an hour, then you might not know whereabouts it is, especially if you've got a large place. So if you press this option and then press the confirm, as you can see or hear, then it's beeping at you, and it only does that, it's around 20-30 seconds, but hopefully in that time you'll know where it is and then you can go and get the vacuum. And then at the bottom here, you've got the timer. Now what you can do, and this is a really good feature with the F1 model, is you can actually set a schedule. So at home, I suppose that the best time for us would be when we all go out, the kids go out to school and I go out to work. Then what you find is that that's really the best time for the vacuum to come out and to do its job. So I suppose for us it would be around 9 o'clock. So all you do is you just press that. So let's set it for 9 o'clock. So how often do we want it to happen? Does it want to be once? Well, no. So if I wanted it to, say for example, it's a Thursday today. So if I wanted it to come out on Friday and Saturday, and for example on Monday, then just select those days. And then once you've done that, so it's remembered that. Notification, do I want to be told when the vacuum has started? Well, yes, I think that's really useful. So it will tell me when it's switched on. And then once you've set that schedule going, then just press save, and that's remembered it. There are different schedules that you can set. So I could add another schedule if I wanted to, if I wanted to come on at a different time. But this is a feature that's built into the app, and it's something I'd certainly recommend doing. Now for those eagle-eyed viewers, you will notice that it comes with this as well in the box. Now it isn't a roll of licorice, although I wish it was a roll of licorice, so I'd really love that. But what you'll find, this is actually a magnetic strip. Now you can find that a big problem with any robotic vacuum is that it can go from room to room and you might not want it to. So what Lefant have done is they've basically given you this, and it can be cut if you want. Just get a pair of scissors and just trim it to how wide you want it. But the idea is, and if I just show you this, you can just lay it down. You can stick it down if you want to. I suppose if you're going to have it down permanently, then you just want to use some double-sided tape and just put it down properly. But the whole idea of this is it won't go over this magnetic strip. So I'll just give you a demonstration of this. So if I just turn the vacuum on and then just set it to go. So at the moment it's just in the auto cleaning mode, but this is a really good example. So it's detected that the magnetic strip is there. So it doesn't matter how many times it goes up to the strip, it's not going over it. So that's a brilliant feature. So the next thing to show you is something called a cliff sensor. And clearly if you've got stairs, then what you don't want to have to do is you don't want to have to use the magnetic stripe at the top of the stairs. I suppose that's something that wouldn't look that great. So what Lefant have done is they've put something called a cliff sensor into the vacuum, and essentially what it's doing is it's going to stop it falling down the stairs. There's nothing worse than spending your hard-earned money on a really nice vacuum like this and then it falling down the stairs straight away. And to show you this, so I'll just turn it on, and as you can see here, it gets to the edge and it's found that the stairs and it's not falling down, which is always a really good thing. And then when it comes to recharging the vacuum, what you'll find is a couple of options. I suppose the first option, if you are out and if you've set the schedule for example, and if it's got to the end of the the end of the time where the battery is almost running out, it will find the charging dock on its own. The other option, if you've decided that actually the room is clean enough, it has vacuumed everything up, then you can either through the app you can actually set the vacuum to go back, or the other option is just on the top here, clearly when it's switched on, just double click the left hand button, and what it will do is it will just go and find the charging dock by itself. And what it does is it's not really in vacuuming mode, but it will actually rotate a couple of times, and as I say, it will come and find the dock on its own. What I'll do, I'll just give it another quick test just while we're on the carpet. So I've got some breakfast cereal here. What you can find is that can be quite difficult to pick up. So let's just try it. again, really impressive. All it will do is it just takes us a couple of minutes to go around that small area. Yeah, eating the cereal up, no problem. And again, it's just demonstrating the clip sensor concept, which works really well. Now, something else that you've got included with it is this mop. Now, the idea is that what you can do is you can actually go and wet this and just pop it on the vacuum cleaner like this, so it just clips on the bottom. So you've got the two clips there, and all you do, and I'll give you a demonstration of this in a moment. So you just go and wet that. Clearly you need to do it before you attach it to the vacuum. And what it will do is it will just mop the floor for you. Now, it isn't designed to suck up any liquid. That's not what it's designed to do. So it's not a wet and dry vacuum cleaner. But what it will do is it will just mop the floor. And for this kind of floor, we've got a wooden floor here. Now, this could be ideal. Now, something else that's included with it, I did mention earlier that you get 2 packets of these. Now, these are what we call disposable dusters. And again, for this kind of floor, this could be ideal. I've just taken one out. And the idea is that as well as vacuuming, then it can actually dust the floor for you. And these are actually pre-wet, so that's why they're contained within this kind of packet. And then they are really designed that once you've finished with these, then you do throw them away. But again, you get 10 of those within the vacuum box. But really what I want to do at the moment is just give you a quick demonstration of this. So I'm just going to go and wet this first. So what I've done now is I've just wet the bottom of the mop and put that back on. And then if I just press the vacuum to start, what it will do is it will just go around in its normal routine and it will start to mop as well. If you followed me on YouTube for a while, then you will notice that probably a couple of months ago I did talk about one of the other Lefant cordless robotic vacuum cleaners, the M210. Now, this is quite a popular one for the brand, but this is quite a new addition to the range, the F1. So I just thought I'd go through some of the comparisons between the two. One of the main things, and something that is really shouted about, is the runtime. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the runtime on the F1, you're looking around 200 minutes. That can vary depending on the suction level that you've set, but it's got a maximum of 200 minutes runtime, which is really good. On the M210, then you are looking at 100 minutes. Now, that's certainly something to consider, because what you'll find is if you go for a vacuum with a longer runtime, then you're not having to worry about it having to come back to recharge, and then you've got to set it to go back out again. Now, something else that is really important is the size of it. So although the external sizes are pretty much the same, what you will find is that the depth of it is a lot slimmer. So you're looking around 69mm on the F1 compared to 80mm on the M210. Now, some of you are thinking, well, it's only 11mm difference, but for a lot of people, if you've got, say, quite a low bed or low sofas, then that can make the difference between the vacuum going under the sofa and vacuum in or not. Also, as I've been showing you around the kitchen cabinets here, the F1 has vacuumed much closer and much nearer to the edge than compared to the M210. A couple of other differences. The first one, the F1 model comes with the magnetic strips. That has the huge advantage that you can set boundaries if you wanted to. So if you didn't want it to go into a certain room, then just pop the strip down, use a little bit of double-sided tape, then that stops it going into the room, which again is a really good idea, which doesn't come with the M210. The F1 also uses a brushless motor, and the main advantage is, first of all, it can be a little bit more efficient, which enables it to get the longer runtime, but the other main difference is it is quite a lot quieter than the standard brush motor on the M210. The other, I suppose the final differences are, well, on both models you've got the mopping function, but on the F1 that's where you get those the single use mopping pads. They just help to sterilise the floor as well. So throughout the video I have showed you that there are two ways of operating the vacuum. Clearly you've got the buttons on the front, also the app, which personally I think is really good. The final way of controlling the vacuum is by voice assistant. So if you have got Amazon's Alexa, or if you have got Google Assistant, then what you can do throughout the app, then you can set it up. And then the main idea is that you can actually control the vacuum with your voice. Now, it's something I did have a go with it with the M210, It is a very similar concept as you come over to the F1, but again, if you do use voice control as speakers within the house, then it's certainly worth getting it set up with the F1. If you've been impressed as I am with this model, and if you're considering buying one, then I have provided a link below to show you where to get one at a competitive price. Now, depending on when you're buying it, because this model, the F1, has only just been released, there are some special offers if you were to follow the link below. I hope you enjoyed this quick video on the Lefant F1 Robotic Cordless Vacuum Cleaner. Please give us a thumbs up, click subscribe on my YouTube channel and leave any comments below. I'd always ask for comments, whether it's good or bad about the video. I'd always appreciate the feedback. There might be some things that you were thinking I might cover, and if I've not covered it, just pop it in the comments if you've got any questions on the vacuum, because there is a lot to talk about. I know essentially it is a vacuum cleaner, but there's a huge amount of technology that goes into these, and if I have missed something, if you want any questions on it, then just pop it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.